At 4:40 in the morning on April 3, 2026, a U.S. Air Force F-15E Strike Eagle, call sign Dude 44, got hit over southwestern Iran and went down. Both crew members ejected into enemy territory. The pilot landed in one area, the weapons officer landed somewhere else entirely, alone, on foot, hiding in the Zagros Mountains, with Iranian forces closing in from every direction. Iran put a $60,000 bounty on his head and called on every local in the region to find him. What happened next involved 155 aircraft, Delta Force, SEAL Team 6, and 10 A-10 Warthogs flying straight into a gunfight deep inside Iran. Here's what most people missed. The mission that actually saved that airman wasn't won by stealth jets or precision bombs from 40,000 feet. It was won by a plane the Air Force had been trying to retire for years, flying low, taking fire, and refusing to leave. By the end of this, you'll understand exactly what the A-10 did in that fight and why no other aircraft in the U.S. inventory could have done it. How it started. The F-15E was on a combat strike mission over southwestern Iran as part of Operation Epic Fury when Iranian air defenses engaged it. President Trump later confirmed the Iranians hit it with a shoulder-fired, heat-seeking missile, the kind a single soldier can carry and fire from the ground. Both the pilot, call sign Dude 44 Alpha, and the weapons systems officer, call sign Dude 44 Bravo, ejected safely but landed miles apart in hostile Iranian territory. The pilot came down in the Khuzestan province area. The weapons officer, Dude 44 Bravo, ended up in the Zagros Mountains near a region called Kogilyue and Boyaranad province. Rugged mountain terrain, no roads nearby, nobody friendly for miles. Iran's IRGC launched a manhunt, offering approximately $60,000 for information leading to the capture of the American crew. The downed officer evaded Iranian forces for more than 24 hours. At one point, he hiked up a 7,000-foot ridgeline. He eventually concealed himself in a mountain crevice and restricted use of his beacon signal out of concern that Iranian forces could detect it. He was alone, injured, hiding in a crack in a mountain in a country that wanted to capture him alive. The A-10 goes in. General Dan Kane, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, confirmed that a U.S. Air Force Combat Search and Rescue Task Force was immediately assembled. It comprised 10 A-10C Thunderbolt IIs flying in the Sandy role, HC-130J Combat King II aircraft, HH-60W Jolly Green II helicopters, and Air Force Special Warfare Airmen, including combat rescue officers and para-rescuemen. The Sandy role is important to understand. It's a specific mission. The A-10 pilots who fly Sandy aren't there to bomb targets from a distance. A Sandy has one mission: get to the survivor, bring the rescue force forward, and put themselves between that survivor on the ground and the enemy. That means flying low, flying slow, finding the downed airman, talking to him on the radio, and physically blocking Iranian forces from reaching him with guns and bombs. It is one of the most dangerous jobs in military aviation. General Kane confirmed that HH-60W helicopters completed in-flight refueling over Iran with an HC-130J rescue transport while en route to retrieve the F-15E pilot during the first phase of the mission. That rescue package was escorted by A-10s flying Sandy. Let that land for a moment. U.S. helicopters refueling while flying over Iran, with A-10s beside them, all of it happening inside Iranian airspace on the same night the jet went down. General Kane said the A-10s and other strike fighters were violently suppressing and engaging the enemy in a close-in gunfight to keep Iranian forces away from the Strike Eagle pilot. Roads got cratered. U.S. aircraft conducted sustained strikes on approaching IRGC elements, cratering roads and hitting Iranian convoys to keep them away from the recovery site. The pilot, Dude 44 Alpha, was pulled out that same day. The harder fight. The weapons officer was a different situation. He was deeper in the mountains, harder to reach, harder to find. CIA Director John Ratcliffe described the task of locating him as comparable to hunting for a single grain of sand in the middle of a desert. The CIA ran a deception campaign, feeding false information to Iranian forces to make them think the airman had already been recovered and moved out by ground convoy. Trump confirmed that U.S. forces deployed aircraft to 7 different locations simultaneously to confuse Iranian search teams. The U.S. used an abandoned agricultural airstrip, 200 feet wide and 3,900 feet long, 14 miles north of Shahrazad City in southern Isfahan province, as a temporary forward operating base, operated and protected by Delta Force operators. Trump described it plainly: a farm, not a runway, wet, crummy soil, mostly sand, wet sand, and it eats planes alive. The second rescue mission involved 155 aircraft total, 4 bombers, 64 fighters, 48 refueling tankers, and 13 rescue aircraft. 2 MC-130J Commando 2s landed on that makeshift strip, offloaded 3 small MH-6 Little Bird helicopters, and those helicopters flew to extract the weapons officer from his mountain hiding spot. On April 5th, the weapons officer was successfully rescued alive with a sprained ankle. The U.S. and multiple reports stated that no American servicemen were killed during the entire operation. The A-10 that took the hit. During the engagements protecting the downed pilot, one of the A-10s was hit by enemy fire. According to General Kane, that specific aircraft was the one primarily responsible for communicating with the downed pilot. That means the plane talking directly to the airman on the ground, keeping him calm, giving him directions, coordinating his rescue, was the same plane taking fire from Iranian forces below. The A-10 pilot flew the heavily damaged aircraft into Kuwaiti airspace before ejecting. The aircraft crashed. The pilot was safely recovered. The plane was gone. The pilot was alive. The airman got out. That is exactly what the Sandy mission is supposed to do. What this cost and what it proved. The Iranian army confirmed that 4 of its officers, including Brigadier General Masoud Zair, the commander of the Iranian Army Air Defense College, were killed by a U.S. airstrike in Mahyar, Isfahan, during the rescue operation. 3 IRGC members were also killed. Iranian forces tried to stop this mission with everything they had. They failed. The losses on the U.S. side were real, too. 2 MC-130Js got stuck in the wet sand on that improvised airstrip and had to be intentionally destroyed to prevent sensitive equipment from falling into Iranian hands. 4 MH-6 Little Bird helicopters were destroyed. 2 Black Hawk helicopters were hit and damaged. 1 A-10 was lost. One of the A-10s was hit by enemy fire, flew to friendly airspace, and its pilot ejected, determining the aircraft could not be landed. Drop your answer in the comments. Was the risk of sending 155 aircraft and special operations forces deep into Iran to rescue 2 airmen the right call, or does a mission of that scale cross the line from no one left behind into a level of exposure that puts the broader operation at risk? Serious question. 2 honest positions. Say what you think. What happened next? On April 20, 2026, Secretary of the Air Force Troy Mink announced that the A-10 Thunderbolt II would be extended through 2030, reversing plans to retire the entire fleet by the end of fiscal year 2029. The decision came after consultations with President Trump and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. The plane that the Air Force had been trying to get rid of for a decade just proved itself in live combat over Iran. That's not a budget decision anymore. That's a battlefield verdict. According to Military Times, A-10s provided close air support in maritime operations in the Strait of Hormuz and were directly involved in the search and rescue mission that recovered both downed F-15E airmen. The Air Force was in the middle of training its final class of A-10 pilots when this happened. That class graduated April 3, the same day the F-15E went down over Iran. The U.S. sent 155 aircraft into Iranian airspace to bring 2 people home. Not a symbol, not a statement, a promise that every person wearing that uniform already knows: you will not be left behind. The A-10 didn't just protect that promise over Isfahan, it bled for it.